Okay, hello and good morning. Let's talk about today's bell work. And by the way, today's Thursday, so your bell work should be on the back. Okay, so if you look here, at the very top of your page, you should have week 2-3. That is the second week of the third marking period. And by the way, again, it should be right here on the back. So make sure you turn your paper over. And today is the 28th of the year 21. Okay, let's take a look at here. You were taught some rules for the signs, so let's just go over that. What does a positive and a positive yield? Okay, how about a negative and a positive? Now, a positive and a negative is not the same thing as this one, okay, because the positive comes first. And the minus, these two are going to yield a plus and a minus, and you got to figure out which one gets the plus and which one gets the minus. If the signs are different, you have to subtract. If the signs are the same, you have to add. Okay? All right, so anyhow, let's take a look at this. 12, the first thing you should do is look at your signs. A positive and a negative would be this one, not that one. See, this one starts with a negative. But this one starts with a positive. So a positive and a negative. So it's going to be, one is going to be a plus and one is going to be a minus. We don't know which one. So take 12, 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. And we're trying to get a 4 here, so it's got to be that one. So put 2 and 6. And the middle one is a plus. So put the plus with the bigger one. Check your outer, that's 6, positive. Check your inner, that's a negative 2n, and that gives you a positive 4n. So that's definitely right. If you want to know for certain, use FOIL. Look at this next one. A negative and a positive is this one. That's going to give you 2 negatives, so you're going to add. So some kids are going to put 1 times 6, but it says add. So here you're going to get 6n negative. And here in the middle, you're going to get a negative 1n, so that gives you a negative 7n. So really what you want to use is 2 and 3, okay? Because that's 3 plus 2 gives you 5. All right, so we're just going to continue our work on these. There is one more I want to go over here. So copy this one down right here. Copy this one down right here. If the first term is a minus, the first thing you have to do is change all your signs. Pull the negative out. So this one becomes a positive, this one becomes a negative, and this one right here becomes a positive. So a negative and a positive yields 2 negatives. So you're going to be adding. But that negative is part of your answer, so make sure you bring it down. So take 45, and let's start breaking it up. 1 times 45. 2 doesn't work. 3, I think, does work. So I think it's 15. And it is. So we're trying to get 14, so that's not going to work. Remember, we're adding. So let's keep going. 4 doesn't work. 5 does work. 5 times 9, that's going to be your answer. Because 5 and 9 adds up to give you 14 when you add them up. So put 5 and 9, and they're both negatives. And then check your outer, check your inner, make sure it's this, and you're done. But don't forget to leave that negative, and make sure you factor that negative out. Here's today's work. So write this down. All right, let's move on to geometry. Now yesterday, all right, before we get started, understand that this is week 2 of the third marking period. And this should be on the back because today's Thursday. So flip your bell work over. If you didn't do that, make sure you do tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Friday goes here. This one's extra. Anyway, I told you that we were going to go ahead and exchange papers and grade these. All right, so let's take a look here. Remember, a translation is a slide. So you're going to take this point and you're going to slide it to the left because it's a -3, and then you're going to go up 4. Okay? So all you do is on all of your x's you put a -3. On your y's you put a +4. So your new point here, a prime, is going to be 5 minus 3. That's going to be 2 and a -4. And then b prime for this one is going to be a -10 and also 10. All right, so if they got both of these, put a check. If they only got one, put a half. If they messed up on both of these, sign or anything, mark it wrong. Reflect over the x-axis, you have to change the y. So here's your y, so we're going to change these. So put a prime and b prime. So the x stays the same, so put 5 and 8, because you got to change it, and then -7, and then change that to a -6. Okay, so make sure they changed the y's. Okay, if they got it, put a check. If they missed half, give them half. If they missed something on both, mark it wrong. If you reflect it over the y, you change the x. So here this becomes a negative. So that's -5, -8. And then the other one, you change the x, so that's 7 and 6. Real simple. All right, if you didn't know this, write it down. And by the way, if you're grading their paper and they did it wrong, you might want to put the rule there. Okay, now look at this one. Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Well, you know, I told you this before. I don't really have my rules memorized, so I'm going to graph it. So this point is over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this point is here. Here's the origin. So I'm going to make a segment, and I want to go clockwise. Clockwise goes like that. So 90 degrees would look something like this. Okay? So this point, if you draw a circle, would hit about right here. All right? Now I'm going to use the rule. So I'm going to look on the board for 90 degrees clockwise, and I think it's change the x and switch. So change the x and switch. Okay? So here, I'm going to change the x to a negative and switch. So it's going to be -8 and -5. And then this one, I'm going to change the x as 7 and switch. So that's going to be 6 and 7. These are the answers. Okay? So look at it. Let me make sure that's the rule. Change that and switch. Yep, change the x and switch is correct. All right, so now if you change the x and switch, let me make sure I had this point right. Actually, I didn't have this point right, did I? This point should have been over 5, so scratch that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now this is better. So scratch all of that, and then go 90 degrees here, and it's going to look something like that. So it should be -5, -8. All right, so I kind of botched that, but anyway, somewhere over here. Okay, better off using the rules. So memorize those rules. Okay. All right, so this one right here says reflect over the x, and let's take a look at this. The line x, and this is a bonus one, looks like this. Y equals x is a 45. Y equals x is a 45-degree angle. Or, yeah, 45-degree angle. All right, so This point is over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right there. So if you're going to reflect over that line, you got to go perpendicular to the line. So this point should be somewhere over here. Okay. Now how can we get there? Well, here we went positive. We must have to switch them. So it's going to be a negative and then up a positive. Okay, so we have to switch these, and I think that's it. So the rule for y equals x is just switch. Don't change anything, just switch. Because if you take 5 and negative 8 and switch them, you get negative 8 and up 5, and that's what that looks like. Okay? All right, anyhow, give the papers back to their owners. All right, let's talk about today's work. Today's work is a worksheet. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, on this one right here, it says, are they similar? And if they are, you have to name it by the pattern. Okay? State if the triangles are similar. If so, how are they similar, and complete the proof. Well, on this one right here, you have vertical angles. So you're shooting for side angle, side similarity. However, this one is an isosceles triangle, 16 and 16. This one's not. So they are not similar right away. So just put not similar. Okay, so that one is a no. You're not going to make an isosceles triangle similar to a scalene triangle. Okay, take a look at this next one. In order for this to work, you got to match up the sides, and you're shooting for side, side, side similarity. So this slant, 84, I'm going to put over the slant. Okay? And by the way, 84 is the biggest and 14 is the biggest. So I put 84 over 14, and I see. And then I go to 72 and 12. That's in the middle. Okay, so put 72 and 12. Okay, and then the smallest one is 48 and 8. So 48 and 8. So you take your calculator and you take 84, divide it by 14, and I want to see the work. I get 6. 72 divided by 12, and I get 6. So all of these are 6s. So this would be side, side, side similarity. Yes, they are similar. Okay, and I said y, side, side, side. Okay, the scale factor is 6. Now look at the pattern. CBA. So CBA goes from the short leg to the long leg. So you want to go short leg to the long leg. So you want to go FGH. Anything else would be wrong. So on each one of these, you have to say if they're similar in Y, if they are, and then you have to name the pattern. So follow the same pattern. Okay? I'm going to try one more with you here. Look at this one. This is vertical angles. So we're shooting for side, angle, side. Okay? That's what we're shooting for. Side, angle, side, similarity. Now 14 is the biggest one on this triangle, so I'm going to put it over 49. 49 is the biggest. So put 14 over 49, and then take the smallest one, which is 8, and put it over 28. Take your calculator. Take 14, divide it by 49, and I get 0.28 and a bunch of stuff. And then here, I get 8 divided by 28, and I get the same thing. So since I get the same thing, the sides are proportional. So this is going to be side, angle, side. So this is yes, side, angle, side. Now watch the pattern. The pattern is VUT, so VUT. So it goes along the short one and then curves up. So go along the short one and curve up. So it's got to be VLM. Try to make sure you get the pattern right and make sure you show some work. Okay, so if you can't be with me today, the worksheet is here. I'm going to post it on Canvas. The back side I had to make a little smaller. I'll show you the answers as we go, but if I would not have reduced it, it would have been 3 pages. All right, so you're going to have to dig in there. Make sure on this one you separate the two triangles. You got one triangle that looks like this, and then you got another big triangle. So separate them, okay? All right, good luck, and I'll see you in class.